number one, I'm going to show you a quick blank page stencil idea. I love these stencils that come with 4 different ones because it just gives you so much variety. So when I buy them, I think this is a great value. But, you know, I also have stencils that are just one pattern, like this. Well, it's a very busy pattern, but a pattern none the same. I like little bits of stencils throughout the things that I do. So the first technique is this just straight on stenciling. That's it. Just blank page, put a little stenciling to get something on the background. You could do the whole page or a partial page. Okay, so I'm going to put a little paint here. This is my stencil brush. They're flat and round, you can see. The thing about this is the drier the brush almost when you're doing this technique, the better. So you want to brush off a lot of the excess paint, and sometimes I keep a page over here and brush off all the extras. So let's say I want to use this one. And then you just make this rounded motion. The thing I like about this, it's feathery, it's easy, and you don't have harsh lines. So again, this is very intense, but you could, you know, make it not so intense with the drier brush. The drier your brush, the more subtle the background. Remember, we're layering. This could be your first layer, or you might like this as the 3rd or 4th or 5th layer, whatever you like. The next idea is, ooh, look, we have this page already done, right? But we want to add a little something to the top of the page. So I'm going to show you 2 things with this. And you just want a little sort of texture. You're not going for the whole page effect, right? Just something like this. And then you would keep going. Let's do this page. So the next technique, I would use more of a wider brush to brush on some color. So I'm going to brush on some color on the page, just like this. Now this is a sloppy job. You could color the whole entire page. Clearly I'm not doing that, but that's fine. And then you could take one of your designs, and I'm going to use this one, and you're going to take a baby wipe and you're going to wipe. And this technique is a really fun technique. Again, these are layers. Remember, you could do it any way you want. So you're going to have more layers in your book. You're going to go on top of it with other things. You're not just going to do, although you could just do a collage layer, a stencil layer. And this is what happens. So you take your baby wipe and you're removing paint. I love this look. So these are 2 different looks going sort of on the same idea. So this one is brushing on with that dry brush technique. And this one is brushing paint on and removing with a baby wipe. We're back. Now, sometimes this technique you might want to do on a plain page. I'm doing it on this page right here. So I have this sort of intricate stencil. And, you know, you could turn it on its side or not. This is just how to add texture to your page. This is my golden gesso. It's just plain white gesso. They make all kinds. They make several different colors. I know they make black. I think I've seen red. This gesso is quite old, and it's a little thicker than usual. Usually you can use gesso to prep your pages. Some people use it to prep your pages. I found that that's really not the most necessary unless you want texture on your page. Then you might want to do it. That's when it becomes important, is if you want to protect your pages. Say you're using a lot of wet medium and you have thinner pages and you don't want it to bleed through or whatever. Gesso is a great thing for that. So you could see this is like, maybe like a little marshmallow fluff. Remember that? So I take a little on my spatula and I push it through. I hold this down tight and I push it through the stencil. Now I do this because then we're going to dry it. You could dry it with a heat gun or you could let it dry naturally, but it creates great texture on your page. Once I do this, I carefully just lift it up and it's going to leave this texture. And actually it's just a hairdryer, and I'm going to dry this so I can show you. You can let this dry naturally. I just wanted to speed things up so that I could show you what to do with this. Or I'm just going to take a little paint and I'm just going to brush the paint across, and then you'll see how the texture, but you could see how this shows up. And now I would let that dry. And then you could do all kinds of things. You could outline this. You could paint each individual petal. I mean, you could do a ton of things. So it's sort of up to you what you decide to do here. That's 3 ways to stencil. So I love this sometimes. Sometimes I don't want that. Sometimes I love this and sometimes I love this. Again, these are layered. So you could do this on top of a already painted page or a layered page that has maybe some, you know, other things on it. It could be your underlayer. It's up to you and what you like. You know, a page like this is my underlayer. I could put stenciling next on top of it and then add other things, or I could do collage on top of it and then add stenciling. Okay, everybody, have a great week, and I'll see you next week.